Hello everybody, my name's Ted Saxton, and I am Emma, Madeline, and Oliver's dad. Every day this week in honor of Dr. Seuss Week, we're going to be releasing videos made by some of my friends and favorite readers from our community. And we've gotten a special appearance from, wait for it, that's right, the Cat in the Hat. So everybody, please welcome Cat in the Hat, also known as Mrs. R, for a very special presentation.
Happy Dr. Seuss Week, everyone. This is the Cat in the Hat, also known as Mrs. R. I want to tell you some interesting facts about Dr. Seuss that you may not know. His parents immigrated from Germany and came to the United States. They had a son, Theodore Seuss Geisel, born March 2nd, 1904. He would be 117 years old today, or this year. And also, he died 30 years ago. When he started writing, he wanted a pen name. So he took his middle name, which was Seuss. And it was spelled S-E-U-S-S. But people in the United States pronounced it Seuss. So he thought, Seuss? Seuss? Well, I think I'll keep Seuss, because it rhymes with Mother Goose. His father worked in a zoo, so he'd go along, take his papers along, take his pencil along. He'd sketch the animals, probably add some extra body parts, horns, or whatever. And then he'd go home, and he would draw them on the walls of his house. No, you may not do that at your house, says the Cat in the Hat. His mom worked in a bakery, and she, instead of reading to him at night, would lull him to sleep by chanting some of the pies that she made during the day. Here is one of her chants. Apple, mince, lemon, peach, apricot, pineapple, blueberry, coconut, custard, and squash. And she would chant that as many times until he fell asleep. Now, this Cat in the Hat would want to know what kind of pie she would bring home tomorrow, rather than falling asleep. But Dr. Seuss praised and thanked his mother many, many times for giving him the rhythm of sentences, the rhyme of sentences, and many words. When he married, he and his wife bought an observation tower. And you wonder, why would he buy an observation tower? Well, he would climb up those steps, and that's where he would do his writing, 8 hours a day. Now, when he first started writing, he thought the books that children used to learn to read were boring. So I'm going to read one and see what you think, because he thought books for children beginning to read should be fun. Now, this book was written before I was born. Dr. Seuss was 36 years old, but I'd like you to read and see what you think. Dick. Look, look. Oh, oh, oh. Look, look. Oh, look. This is his sister Jane, and if you can see, I had a pair of roller skates like that. The title is Jane. See, see, see Jane. Oh, Jane, look, look, look. Oh, 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 see Jane. Funny, funny Jane. Boring? Right. 56 years ago when I started teaching here, we still used the books of Sally, Dick, and Jane, and I have a copy of it. I had to write really big because I don't have my glasses on, so there I've got some pages here. His first book that he wrote 84 years ago, that's even older than I am, but I'm gaining on it, and it was And to Think. I saw it on Mulberry Street. So once you write a manuscript or a book, you send it to a book company, and they make it into a book. Well, he sent it out the first time, and they rejected it. They didn't think it was any good. He kept sending it out the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 10th, the 11th. Still got rejections. They didn't think the book was any good. 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, that was even rejected. And it went all the way to the 27th time, and he was still rejected. But you know what? Dr. Seuss had a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. Or he would have given up and said, forget it, I'm never going to read again or write stories for children. But on the 28th time, it was accepted. His wife, he didn't have any children of his own, so his wife said his books were his children. And he was also a doodler, and I know some of you doodle because I've seen you do it. Many times he would come up with ideas for his stories from doodling and for some of his characters. Dr. Seuss was also a hat collector. In his home, he had a large closet full of hundreds of hats. And that's probably why he wrote and remember the 500 hats of Bartholomew Cubbins. In fact, when he'd invite people over for dinner or just to come over, he encouraged his guests to go into the closet, pick out a hat, and wear it for the rest of the time that they were there. Also, when he was sitting in the tower trying to write and just couldn't come up with any ideas, many times he'd climb down the stairs, go into his closet full of hats, grab one, put it on, and it obviously worked. A book company that wrote books for children to learn to read sent him the 350 words that early readers had to know. They're called words to know, but I call them lickety-split words because they need to be known lickety-split, like the, and, want, this, to, do. So after he had those list of words, he wrote The Cat in the Hat, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, socks, fox on socks, green eggs and ham, hop on pop, Are You My Mother, The Foot Book, and Oh, the Thinks You Can Think. I had many first graders that brought those books and read to the class. Now, I wonder, how long did it take him to write The Cat in the Hat? It only had 236 words. You know how long it took him? 1 year, 365 days. Because this is how he would write. There were no computers back then. So he would write, draw the illustrations like that page. Then he'd go to the next page, and if he didn't like it, he threw it in the garbage. You know how many times he did that throughout just writing his first draft? 500 to 1,000 times. So you can see it took him quite a length of time to write his books. And he also invented the word nerd. It was never heard of or written before. And it was in the book If I Ran the Zoo. And it was one of his crazy creatures that he called Nerd. A book publisher bet Dr. Seuss $50 that he could not write a book that had less than 50 words. So guess what? Of course he did it. It's 61 years old. Green Eggs and Ham. His books were written in 30 different languages, so children and adults all over the world enjoyed his books. And the book I'm going to read is I Can Read with My Eyes Shut. The cat in the hat is talking to his young cat. I can read in red, and I can read in blue, and I can read in pickle color too. I can read in bed, which I've been doing a lot lately, and in purple and brown. And I can read in a circle and upside down. I can read with my left eye, and I can read with my right. And I can read Mississippi with my eyes shut tight. Indianapolis, Mississippi, and Hallelujah too. I can read with my eyes shut. That is very hard to do. But it's bad for my hat. And it makes my eyebrows get red hot. So, reading with my eyes shut I just don't do an awful lot. And when I keep them open, I can read with much more speed. You have to be a speedy reader because there's just so much to read. You can read about trees and bees and knees on trees and bees on threes. You can read about anchors and ants, and you can read about ankles and crocodile pants. You can read about hoses and how to smell roses and what to do about those owls on your noses. Young cat, if you keep your eyes open enough, oh, the stuff you will learn. The most wonderful stuff. You'll learn about fish bones, wishbones, and you'll learn about trombones too. You'll learn about Jake the pillow snake and all about Foo-Foo the snoot. You can learn about ice. You can learn about mice, mice on ice, and ice on mice. And you can learn about the price of ice. Nice ice, 10 cents a pail. You can learn about sad or glad and mad. Oh, there are just so many things you can learn about, but you'll miss the best things if you keep your eyes shut. The more you read, the more you'll know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. You might learn a way to earn a few dollars, or how to make donuts, or kangaroo collars. You might even learn to read music and play a hutzuck if you keep your eyes open, but not with them shut. If you read with your eyes shut, you're likely to find that the place where you're going is far, far behind. So, that's why I tell you to keep your eyes wide. Keep them wide open, at least on one side. Now, if you could talk about character traits with Dr. Seuss, we would say he was determined, obviously, had a growth mindset. He was kind, and he was over the top creative. Also, many of his books had a lesson in them, inspired you, or gave you some messages. I'm going to do some of his famous quotes, and I'd like you kids to talk about them after what they really mean. When he said you can move mountains, I don't think he wanted you to go out and move mountains. Or write about them. So here's one of his quotes. This is from Oh, the Places You'll Go. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. And from the book I just read, the more you read, the more things you'll know. The more that you learn, the more places you go. And will you succeed? Oh, why, yes, indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Be awesome. Be a book nut. And from the Cat in the Hat, you'll never be bored when you try something new. There's really no limit to what you can do. Here's one of my favorites. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. And this is from the Lorax, written 50 years ago. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. I'm going to leave you with the last one of Dr. Seuss' quotes, and I challenge each of you to be a book nut and to be the best reader that you can be. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way. Kid, you can move mountains. Mrs. Walls thought that the Cat in the Hat needed a Cat in the Hat masks. It says, I wear my mask here and there. I wear my mask everywhere. And I do. And I can't wait for the day until I can come and see you.